So in-game, anything's possible. Absolutely anything is possible. I have had very, very fast pulls. I think my fastest pull ever is like something like 10 minutes in the club or something like that. I meet the girl 10 minutes later in the club, I'm having sex with her, right? So like, yeah, it can happen fast, okay? But number one, that's not gonna be the norm, right? There is a certain amount of expected time and comfort that it usually takes to sleep with a girl. And so if you try and create a strategy where you're violating like the laws of physics, like you're violating the laws of game in creating your strategy, you're gonna be very frustrated, okay? That's number one. Number two, what you just said to me, if you had written across your forehead that as a fact about you, how many girls do you think would even entertain a conversation with you having heard that your intention is what you just told me? I'm looking for a one-night stand only, and I plan on taking you home within 20 minutes. How many girls do you think when they went out that night, that was their plan? I want to get fucked by a guy I've known for less than 20 minutes, right? And yeah, like literally very few, and logically even fewer, if you're asking their logical mind, okay? So what you're saying basically is you have this particular agenda, this particular thing you're trying to do that is an unpalatable thing to the other party, and you're rigidly going to try and pursue this thing. If you want to do that, feel free. I don't recommend it. I think it's going to work badly for you and not so well for them either, okay? Have a little more flexibility, and also try within your plan to account for the girl's experience, right? Because if your idea is, I want to do something to you, and I'm ambivalent to your experience, I'm ambivalent to whether it's good for you, that's going to come across in a lot of ways. You're going to come across potentially pushy, potentially needy, potentially a little creepy, that kind of stuff, right? It's not a good outlook. Also, why is it important? Why is it important that it be within 20 minutes? Like, is it like, if it's not within 20 minutes, I don't get my validation from it? Like, what? You can't spend an hour with her? And again, going back, I'm going to keep hammering on this, right? On your forehead. I want to sleep with you. One night stand only, it has to be in 20 minutes. And I consider spending time with you a waste of time. It's getting more and more palatable the longer we go. Do you understand how this is like, that this mentality is going to make it very, very, very hard for you, right? If you have a mentality more that you're there to provide a good experience for them, a good interaction for them, you're willing to do that, so many things in your game are going to get so much easier and so much better, right? Both just on a general mentality, even if your plan was in alignment with the laws of physics of game, right? If it was, I'm going to spend 4 to 7 hours with you and then whatever, but you're out of alignment with the likely scenario number one, and also it's a very all about me, none about you kind of way of looking at it, right? Like, so the very question is the problem, right? The very fact that you're setting this criteria is really going to fuck you from the start. You have to have an agenda or you wouldn't take action. You wouldn't go and talk to the girl if you didn't have an agenda, right? The question is not, do I have an agenda? The question is, do I have a good agenda? Do I have an agenda that's palatable to her? Does that make sense? Again, if my agenda is I want to sleep with you in 20 minutes, I hate you, I don't want to talk to you, and it's not going to be any fun for you, and I probably will try hard not to give you an orgasm, sorry. That's not a very palatable agenda. But if my agenda is I'm out here to have an amazing experience and talk to cool people, and if that person happens to be female, that's that much more fun and exciting and exhilarating for me, and I love the connection that I have with an amazing woman. That agenda is very palatable. Does that make sense? So if you have a good agenda, it's fine. If you have a bad agenda, an agenda that's a loss for her, that's when it's a problem, right? So agenda per se, it's fine, as long as the agenda is a shared positive agenda for both of you. The issue with agenda is when you have an agenda to do something to her rather than for her or with her. My agenda is for us to have the most amazing interaction. And part of the most amazing possible interaction, obviously, is sex, because sex is wonderful. Yeah. Makes sense? Okay. But it's about us both having an amazing time. It's not about the sex per se. Okay. That's the big difference.